we're getting things done here. We've got plenty of sports to get into. Rocking my suit now. I think I should just be wearing this from now on. Probably alumni pin. I'll be wearing it until BCIT tells me to take it off, because why not? You know, it's nice. I got it. I haven't worn it yet. I also got some alumni socks, and they want me to partner with them, you know, monthly or yearly donations, whatever that looks like. That's fine with me. So, a little bit of World Cup to start things off with. Today's Tuesday, so we just had Argentina versus Croatia. A little bit of a disappointing game from Croatia's point of view. It wasn't even close. So, let alone, obviously, Argentina with the 3-0 victory. They're now moving on to the finals to play either France or Morocco on Sunday at 7 a.m. So, pretty much my only takeaways from this game is that Croatia's lockdown defense that they were very prominent for and had displayed quite consistently, that was just completely broken down. Also, the transitional plays was a lot more in Argentina's favor. They were able to explode off the ball in the midfield, get into the offensive zone, and there wasn't really a whole lot. Messi was just kind of doing whatever he wanted, and that's what ended up happening. He scored on a penalty kick there, and that was from another player just absolutely taking control, going to the net like that, doing pretty much all that he could. He collided with the goaltender for Croatia, and then of course Julian Alvarez scored 2 more goals after that to kind of solidify, get some distance. So that was a very interesting game. Also on Saturday, I was watching the France game versus England. So that was a really exciting one as well to see. I don't think we expected this kind of a bludgeoning, but, you know, Argentina, you know, obviously congratulations to them. Leo Messi, very impressive performance thus far, and I hope that he wins this year, because I think we can all kind of agree that he deserves it. Obviously, the French team, I think that they're a little bit better than Argentina. Excuse me. But yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see nonetheless. So moving on to Monday Night Football. We had the Patriots versus the Cardinals last night. Devastating news, ACL tear for Kyler Murray. The injury was non-contact, and when I saw it, I was really confused, thinking that, I don't know, maybe he just had, you know, twisted his ankle or something like that, tape him up, throw him back in there. That was the first thing that I was kind of thinking of. He kind of fell down. It was almost like a slide, got about 5 yards on that first down. But now the news is coming out, and it just obviously didn't look good immediately following that, because it was carted off, and there really wasn't a whole lot that Arizona could have done. So starting that game, I thought that the Cardinals were looking like in better shape, and then we get Colt McCoy coming out. So yeah, it's a little it's certainly disappointing to see that, because Kyler, you know, obviously the injury, it doesn't look very there wasn't a whole lot of consequence to it, because it was non-contact. Of course, these things can happen, and players, they just either cramp up or they just make contact with the ground awkwardly. These kind of injuries, they don't seem excusable, but they happen, and, you know, obviously I feel really bad for him. Not sure what the hell happened on that play. He kind of was just running, but I don't want to add insult to injury. You know, I really feel bad for Kyler Murray. Obviously, the emotion had overwhelmed him. He was playing his guts out this season when he could, because he had been battling injuries. He missed 2 games already. Colt McCoy had come in, and this also happened on the predecessing season last year. And this is almost a routine for the Cardinals. I don't want to say that they're doomed for failure, because they have locked Kyler Murray in. He is the quarterback of their future. Signed a huge deal this past offseason. Last year, when the Arizona Cardinals started 8-0, I don't think a lot of people really cared or took notice to that. And rightfully so, because they did not finish the year very well whatsoever. It was a pretty disastrous year for them, because they lost to the Rams in the playoffs. They weren't really able to gather a whole lot of success. I do think that the Cardinals are in a better position thus forward. So, you know, as soon as Kyler comes back, it's going to be... That was kind of the story of the season as well, because Arizona didn't have any of their players all playing at the exact same time. Patriots move up to the final playoff position over the Chargers in the AFC, which I don't really care about, because the Patriots haven't really done a whole lot to me to, I don't really care that they're in the playoffs position. Whether they make the playoffs or not, it's irrelevant to me. I would much rather have the Chargers in there. I like the Chargers because the Patriots, their offense just looks awful. Mac Jones, the confidence is not there offensively. They aren't able to get the ball down the field. Their O-line looks dreadful, and Mac Jones, he's just he looks like any game we could see Bailey Zappi. He could come in at any point of the time. Mac Jones, I feel like he's just on a very thin leash. So not a whole lot there. I'm not concerned about the Patriots because even if they do make the playoffs, they're not going to be able to get anywhere. They're not going to, they're going to have to get a defensive touchdown if they want to do anything. What are they going to do? Play Kansas City in the first round? Play Cincinnati? They're not going to beat these teams. So that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest problem. So I'm not too concerned about that, but I am concerned about the Seahawks because this past Sunday, that was a game that they needed to have. And they're not going to make the playoffs if they can't be beating the Panthers. They don't deserve to be. That's almost one of the things that you could objectively say, okay, well, the Seattle Seahawks, they didn't beat the Panthers. They're playing the 49ers on Thursday, and then they're playing the Chiefs, and then the Jets and the Rams. But by then, it's not even going to matter because the problem is that the Seahawks needed to win that game, and they're not going to be able to get anywhere, especially since the Giants and the Commanders are playing each other this weekend. That's not going to help anybody because those two teams are 7-5-1. They have the exact same record. They definitely needed Kenneth Walker. I think against the Panthers, I think he definitely could have been able to penetrate that defense and get something going. That Travis Homer and Jones, I think that's his name. And then DJ Dallas, I don't think he was playing last game. It was just dreadful all over the place. You're not going to get that kind of production from Goodwin or from Disley or from Fant. You can't rely on those guys. Gino's going to air it out. He's going to find Metcalf and Lockett against the 49ers, but the problem is that he threw 2 interceptions against the Panthers. How much more do you think he's going to throw against Charvarius Ward and Dre Greenlaw? You think he's not going to throw an interception to Fred Warner or to Jimmy Ward? These guys are going to be swarming him all over the place. They're not going to be able to run the ball if Kenneth Walker isn't even there. If he's there, it seems completely irrelevant. Deebo Samuel goes down. I have criticized the 49ers in the past, and I absolutely 100% stand by that because I do think that even with a healthy Deebo and a healthy Garoppolo, I don't like their offense. Why? Because everything is going through CMC. And now that Deebo is out until the playoffs begin, it appears to me that Kyle Shanahan is, again, going to be relying on Purdy throwing it to any no-name receiver, and that's also probably going to end up being Christian McCaffrey most of the time. 2 weeks ago, he had, 8 catches for 70 yards, something like that? And the 49ers defense, if I could just revisit that again, in their last 6 games, the 49ers, the most points they've given up in their last 6 games was 17 to Miami. And in their last 4 games, the 49ers have allowed 8.5 points per game. That's not even a touchdown and a field goal. So we'd be lucky. The Seahawks would be lucky if we see Jason Myers twice on Thursday because they don't even allow a field goal and a touchdown in the same game in the last 4 games. That's how good their defense has been. So, the Seahawks, they're not beating the Chiefs on Christmas Eve. That's not happening. The Jets on New Year's Day, I don't even care about that game. That's, week 17 by that point? We're gonna know. We're going to know what the playoff picture is in the NFC. That's what's going to happen. The Lions, they don't seem to go anywhere. They're still in the mix, which is kind of annoying. Hopefully the Commanders can pull it out. I would much rather have the Seahawks and the Commanders in the playoffs this year than the Commanders and the Giants. So, that's a bit of the NFL. So Blue Jays, they got Chris Bassett. A little bit of Blue Jays talk. I want to talk about them as much as I can because I'm going to be following very closely their offseason moves. It matters to me a lot because the Blue Jays were very delightful and infuriating last season at the same time, and rightfully so. I saw way too much Kikuchi. I saw way too much Phelps and Richards and Meza. I'm glad that they added in Zach Pop and Anthony Bass towards the end of the year. Hopefully those 2 guys can supplement some of the bullpen needs that we have, and we need to also address them because they are a lot more serious to me. Yes, re-signing Stripling, reportedly 2-year, $25 million deal. That's very important. But the biggest thing to me, yes, Chris Bassett, that's a great addition. I like where we're standing with our starting five. When Hyunjin Ryu comes back, then we got Manoa, Gosman, Bassett, Ryu, and Stripling. But it's got to be the bullpen. That's the biggest thing. Kevin Kiermaier, great addition. Love it. I don't know how much I love Springer in right field. Obviously, Teoscar Hernandez, huge loss. I mean, I guess having Springer in the right field, that's going to be great too, because it's not like he can't play that position. A little bit of basketball today. It's Tuesday, which means that TNT pretty much has majority, like, they just call the shots when it comes to the matchups on Tuesdays. So we got the Lakers. They are playing the Celtics, I believe, tonight, yes. And then the Warriors are going into Milwaukee. So we're going to have to see, if Milwaukee can hold off the Warriors first. That's the first game. And the Warriors, they play really bad on the road. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just how comfortable they are not being at home. It seems a little bit ridiculous that this is a thing. But home field advantage does matter in football. Home court advantage does matter in basketball. Home ice advantage matters a little bit in hockey, I'd say, maybe. It's nice to be good at both. And this is ultimately where I stand on when it comes to home court advantage, and especially when the playoffs are upon us. So if the playoffs are upon you and you're looking at the standings, whatever sport it may be, you're looking at the standings and you look at maybe some of the top teams in the conference. All right, let's say the top 6. And they're all kind of, similar, meshed in there. They're all malleable, except maybe the top team, who is the division leader, President's Trophy, or whatever you want to call it, the first round bye, if you're in the NFL. I think what really you want to pay attention to that most people don't really acknowledge a whole lot is you want to be looking at how good is a team when they're at home and when they're on the road. Because that ultimately tells you how good the team is when they aren't just relying on certain intangible variables, which is exactly the case when it comes to home ice and home away ice, when they're on the road, if we're looking at hockey, for example. So those are some of the little things that I pick away when it comes to hockey. When it comes to the Tampa Bay Lightning, I look at how good is the team on the road, how good is the team, and how well are they playing collectively when the stars aren't just doing all the work. So if you've got 4 lines of offense, everybody is playing well, everybody's scoring. You don't just have the superstars on the first line scoring all the goals, as well as, if you have 26, if you're 26-5, for example, at home, and then you're like 11-18 on the road, I would rather have a team that's 17-7 at home and then 17-7 on the road, or whatever it is, whatever the actual addition is for the standings or for the schedule at the time. That is coming back to the Warriors. That's what we're dealing with here. That's the issue. The Warriors absolutely are putrid on the road. They are abysmal playing in another arena, and it's inconsequential, and it's also inexcusable. It really isn't much that you can say, we had to travel and we had to play in another place that we're not familiar with. It's a basketball court. But again, this has to be excused due to the intangible variables that we face. It makes absolutely no sense when the Lakers and the Clippers play each other because it's literally the exact same building. The Clippers, Who are the Clippers playing tonight? No, it's the Lakers, pardon me. It's the Lakers and the Celtics. So I'll probably watch a little bit of that game. I think that the Lakers are back to form. I want to see them succeed in some capacity because I want to know how good this team really is. It's been such a roller coaster, having obviously that horrible start to the year. I think they were like 10-9 or something at some point in October. But Milwaukee is definitely solidifying themselves as one of the top teams in the East. Pelicans are rising. That's also very exciting to look forward to. And so lots to get excited to. Leave a comment, leave a comment. I will address any comments that come up, and I'll talk about it. That's what we're gonna do. That's what's new. That's what's coming up.